Hello and welcome to GirlExec. I am Kristy and I'm here with my beautiful friend Isha. We are here really to talk to someone you're ready to step into your first role, or maybe you just stepped into your first leadership opportunity. We want to share with you 4 critical tips and steps for you to consider, really to carry you forward well. So Isha, can you start us off with our first one?
Thanks, Chris. Onboarding is the first priority that you should have jumping into your first leadership role. And this essentially means doing what it takes to become a fully functioning leader of your team as quickly and as smoothly as possible. And it's all about clarity. Clarity for yourself, with your boss, and with your team so that you can lead the team in the right way. There's a few critical steps in this. Number 1, don't just jump in and get to work. Remember, when you're becoming a leader, this is no longer about what you can do on your own. This is about the way you help and drive the team to perform. So avoid that temptation. Instead, understand the critical priorities and deliverables for you and your team. There are a set of those waiting for you when you get there, and you need to understand what they are. Understand the performance metrics and expectations that you'll be evaluated against, because you always want to have those top of mind. Understand who your critical stakeholders are. Prioritize meeting with them, listening to their insights, building relationships. Relationship is just as important as anything that you and your team can technically do. And depending on the level of leadership you're stepping into, you may want to ask for a mentor. Many organizations will provide senior mentors to first-time leaders to help you be successful. So take this time, usually across 60 days, 90 days, to get the clarity you need to be able to have a strong start as a leader.
Absolutely. You made me think about a quote I used to keep in my old office. And the quote was, relationships are the currency of life.
Yeah.
And it's so true. So the next thing we want to talk about is listening, and then specifically talking about the stakeholders just a bit more. Consider, who are your stakeholders? First, obviously, you have your boss, and you need to talk to this individual, he or she, around what their priorities are and everything that Aisha outlined in your onboarding plan. But what I would say is, think about also, who are the people that are your peers? Who are the other leaders in the organization who have a critical tie to what you do? Think about next your teammates. Listen intently to your teammates. Who are they? What do they like to do? What are they passionate about? What are their professional priorities? Knowing and understanding this will help you lead not only overall, but individually, person by person, very well, because you can meet them right where they are. And then I would say, establish a rhythm for listening. So as you've met the stakeholders, it will inform you, who do I need to stay connected with and how often? So you could set a 30-minute meeting once a month, or a 15-minute touch base, just to say, hey, what's new and exciting in your world? With your team, definitely set those one-on-one meetings, and set, I would say, an every other week or once a month all team meeting, because you want to keep the pipeline or the opportunity just to listen over and over to what's going on.
Absolutely, Chris. Once you've listened, make sure you take time to learn. Learning and leading go together. If your team were already operating at the height of what the organization is looking for, your leadership would not be necessary. So your role is to come in and to give vision, to come in and to share new developments that are happening, and to lead your team to something new. To do that, you have to make sure you're learning yourself and exploring those possibilities. As Kristy mentioned, the stakeholders, that's really the jumpstart for your learning plan. Listen to those individuals. Take notes of those insights that they share. Take notes of the resources that they share with you. That helps drive your onboarding plan and also your future learning plan. Prioritize what your organization or your manager already sees as areas for development for your team. You're not starting with a clean slate. This team has been around with a lot of success, I'm sure, but also a lot of things that they can drive further. Understand those and take action on it. And then be intentional to break out of the silo. I know you have a lot to do as a leader, but you need to take time to understand what's happening in the rest of your company, what's happening in your industry. Those are great things to spur you on with ideas for your team. And lastly, I want to suggest block time on your calendar for learning, an hour every Friday morning. If you don't block the time, taking time to learn and look at what's next can be one of the first things to go by the wayside.
That is critical, blocking your calendar, because time is you cannot find time. And some of the most important people do that. I remember reading an article, and it highlighted people like Bill Gates and Barack Obama who always block time every Friday, actually, for their learning. So lastly, and most importantly, all of these things contribute into leading and leading well. Some specific things I just want to highlight around leading is communication. Communication and clarity in communication is critical. The frequency of communication is critical. If you have a new vision and new message, you have to communicate it multiple times to each person you talk to, because every time they're going to pick up on something new and they're going to process it just a bit differently. Next, I would talk about recognition. Recognition is so important. Two things about recognition: know how people want to be recognized. Yes. I personally do not like being surprised with public recognition. It is internally is a very uncomfortable thing for me. Now, do I like to be recognized? Absolutely. But I like to be recognized through what I become more and more responsible for. So that's an example. The other thing, I remember someone brought me mint Milanos. That was their recognition and gift to me, because they know I love mint Milanos. My point of just bringing up those personal examples are: know your teammates, know your colleagues, know what's important to them, and recognize them, because it's important to saying to them that I value what you're doing and I see it. Next, I would talk about feedback. Feedback as a leader is not just for the sake of giving it. It should be instructive feedback. It should highlight a situation, help that person learn what they didn't do well and how to do it differently, or what they did well so you could affirm what they're doing well so they can repeat it in the future. And lastly, manage up. So there's a whole other episode on this. I'll just say that. But what I will say in this quick moment is knowing and understand your priorities, your boss's priorities, the division's priorities, and the organization's priorities, and the connection between those things, and how you then support your leader relative to it. It's critical. It's absolutely critical. Isha, if you could close us out.
We are so excited for you stepping into your first leadership role, and we know there's a lot to do, but we hope this framework is helpful to you. On board, listen, learn, and lead. And whatever you do, remember to subscribe to GirlExec so that you can receive all of our episodes, 5-minute conversations to help enrich your career and life. Thank you.